Welcome back, guys. This is the 21st video tutorial of Java. So as we discussed in previous tutorial, we have a collection.sort method will be used for sorting an elements for the primitive data types like string, int and all. So what is the way of sorting a custom object? Suppose So now we have already covered like collection.sort, how it actually works for string data types here. Now we can see how we can implement the comparator and comparable interfaces in real time for sorting custom objects. So these are one of the important question in interviews again. Please make sure, guys, you just go through the tutorial properly and you can understand better. So for demonstrating that, I'm just writing a new class inside a sort, which is again a student. I'm mentioning so the first approach will be using comparable interface. The way to do this is you just need to implement what are the class you have comparable. It took a type, generic type, which you need to pass it as a student again. What is this class you have? You just need to pass it. So once you're done with this, then so we can declare the basic properties for a student. One is int roll number, and we have property called name. So these are the two different properties I'll be declaring for student B, and student I'm just assigning these values in constructor itself by passing constructor parameters. So what I'm doing is this start roll number equal to roll number, this start name equal to so name. So I just created a new student object which holds basic details. Now the actual implementation will come. Suppose for making this student object allowed to be sortable, what I'm doing is I'm using comparable interface to make I'm just inheriting that interface with the primitive type, with the generic type, which is student I'm given. So it is showing some error. It is asking we need to override a method which is unimplemented. We have to override because that's abstract method over there in comparable interface, which is compare2. So this is the compare2 method we have to override, and we have to return respective value. So the way to do this is, in this case, what I'm doing is with the roll number I want to sort the elements. What is the way of doing it? Instead of O, I'm just putting st. So the return value, what are the return value returning? That is the priority you're giving. Suppose if I'll tell this way. So what are the student objects we are getting, right? That is, we can use it for our comparison and to make the sorting available. I'm just clearing this. What I'm doing is I'm just checking if this start roll number equal to st dot roll number. What I'm doing is I'm just returning 0, which means both are same. So I'm just returning a 0 because it's taking an integer element. So else case what I'm doing is if this dot roll number is greater than st dot roll number, what I'm returning is 1. Means which is greater than 1. So the student object what are we getting, this is greater than which is greater than the roll number. So that is the reason the current object is greater a higher value. So that is the reason I'm returning 1. The else case, so if doesn't, means if this is smaller, then I'm giving return -1. So here I does the logic, which is I'm just checking the roll number. So I just want to make this class to be sorting to be available for roll number based. For that reason, what I'm doing is I'm just checking roll number based validation. If both are same, the parameter and the instance variable both are same, then I'm returning 0. If it is higher value, I'm returning 1. If it is lesser value, I'm just returning -1. That's about your part in bean class. Now we can go and we can check how collection sort will implement for this class. So for that, what I'm doing is test sort. I'm just creating a class with the test sort. So here I'm mentioning a class called, and I'm just declaring a main method here. Inside that, what I'm doing is I'm doing the same ArrayList object. ArrayList of, here the type will be, it's not a string, it's I'm taking student. So list object I'm declaring new ArrayList of. So the way to do this is I need to create objects for this with the different roll numbers. Student st1 equal to new student of. So first I'm giving 200 for James. So and student 2, just copying this one. I don't want to, I just want to save the time. So I just created 4 student objects. It's student 1, student 2, student 3 and student 4. What I'm going is 200 and 100, and I'm randomly giving 400 and 300. So I have given random roll numbers Geo and Thomas, Justin. So I have given different names for different users, and I have given different roll numbers for all of them, and I'm just adding those values to a list. st1, repeating for 4. We have 4 objects, right? I'm just repeating for 4 of them, and I'm just printing those elements. Maybe for each loop I'll be using. So I'm just printing it. Here I need to make sort. So I just implemented here the serializable comparable interface, but I haven't make a call for sort. We'll see how the results will be before making a sort class. So it is just printing 200, 100 and 400 and 300. There is no order happening. The expected order will be 100, 200, 300 and 400. Now I'm making a sort with the same collections dot sort of the list. Now the collections.sort will work on sorting these elements. Collection.sort string and objects behave, right? Even for other types, for custom types, we can use through the comparable and comparator operators, we can able to achieve sorting. So I just gave sort of list. So internally the student object is implemented with these comparable interface. That is the reason it will, the elements will be sorted and it will be printed. Let's see the result now. See, now the elements got sorted with roll number, which is 100, 200 and 300 and 400. So these about sorting custom objects using comparable interface. So there is other interface which is available for making the do the same, which is comparator. So as we already done with comparator or comparable interface, so for the name also, if you want to do the same, and you can do the same way, like a name.compare to, if you use, then it will actually compare with the names. The way to do this is, I'm just writing, I'm not demonstrating here, I'm just writing for testing for your demonstration, name.compare to. The compare to method is available for, suppose this dot name dot compare to of st dot name. If you compare this way, then it will be, you can able to achieve name based sorting. I just did a roll number based sorting. If you want to achieve name based, then you can use this. So you can change these conditions along with this, and you can return respective value for them. So now we have seen sorting using comparable interface. Now we can see what is comparator and how to use it. So comparator is a benefit of using, suppose comparable, as you declare, right, you have having all the implementation within your bean. So these actually extra code which you may added in your bean, right? With the comparable, you don't need to do this. For that, I'm just creating a new employee class instead of student we already have. So I'm just creating employee bean, where I'll be adding properties almost same. I'm taking emp envo and string name, and I'm having employee constructor which is taking emp name and emp number and string name, and here I'll be assigning values like this dot emp envo equal to emp envo, this dot emp name equal to, for name we simply mention name equal to name. So that's it. So unlike the student object, we have additional information for additional code for sorting. So I just have the only employee details, nothing much I have it in my bean. Now I'm going to create a comparator. So the comparator name I'll be calling as emp envo comparator. What I'm doing is I'm having a separate class for emp number. Suppose for name, if you want, you can create a separate comparator. What I'm doing is I'm just implementing comparator interface. See, it is from java.util, and the type, if you want, you can give it, and if you want, you don't want, you can ignore it. There's no problem at all. But make sure, guys, you just need to implement one unimplemented method, which is compare to method, which is actually having two objects that we'll be having. I'm just taking o1 and o2 as two objects. What I'm doing is, here also I'm doing same, like how we did here for this object under the parameterized object. I'm doing same for these two objects. The code will be, first, before doing that, because it's having object type, first you have to convert it to employee type. What is the type you have? That type you have to compare. Otherwise, if you declare in the declaration itself, right, you will be getting with the data type itself. The way to do this is, I'm just undoing, and if you give a comparator, right, it is expecting a generic. You can give it here, then automatically the IDE will implement with the employee bean itself. You don't need to convert it again. So either way you can do it. If you ignore here, then you have to do typecasting here, or if you mention here, then you don't need to do any typecasting. So this will be fine for us now. So I'm just deleting all the code. What I'm doing is I'm just checking o1 dot emp envo double equal to o2 dot emp envo. Then I'm just returning 0, else if same case how we wrote, if o1.empno is greater than, if it is greater than o2, then what I'm doing is I'm returning a positive value, which is, and else case I'll be returning -1. Because it's a lower value, I'm just returning -1. Now we can see how to test this one. I'm just having sort demo or comparator demo, anything you can mention. Here I'm just writing a main class which talks about, which actually demonstrate, for example, we'll be having employee class, and which is having nothing other than the regular implementation. I'll be creating a comparator which belongs to EMP number. I mentioned the same name and I'm checking for the employee number. So the way to do this is, first we need to create employee classes. Before that, we just need to have a list which is array list. Array list of employee, new array list of. So for the list I need to add, first I need to create employee objects. Employee emp equal to new employee of, the role employee number I will be giving as 111, and the name I will be giving as any names you can give it. Usually I'm giving the same names. So this is employee 1. So I'll be having 3 employees, which is employee 1, employee 2 and employee 3. Here we'll be having the IDs are 1. So why can't I shuffle them? 1 8 I'll be keeping here, 1 2 I'll be keeping here, and 10 I'll be keeping here, and Geo and Thomas. So these are the 3 different employees I have. I'm just adding into list. I've just added to list all the 3 employees, and I'm just printing the list how actually looks like. Using for each loop I can able to print. Employee number, and I'm printing the name. So I'm just printing it. I haven't implemented the sort mechanism, so I'll be using it now. Before sorting, how these values look like, we'll see it first, then we can go for, see 18 12 10, it is printed same. There's no difference between the regular values and its unsorted elements. Now I'm going to use sort. For that, what it is, collections dot sort of, if you see in sort method, it is taking list. Along with that, I'll be giving my new comparator, which is EMP comparator, EMP number comparator. That's it. Just need to give the list and the comparator, whatever the comparator you have, you just need to give it. So this will actually make you the elements to be sorted with the employee number. See, 10 12 18, we got the elements are listed. Now we can see the differences between comparator and comparable. So for the comparable, we need to, so I can tell from the scratch, we have the collection.sort method, which with that we can directly sort the default primitive types. And if you want to convert any non-primitive data types, then you need to go for additional code, which is comparable and comparator classes interfaces you have to use. So using comparable, you need to extend the implement the comparable interface in your respective bean. Then you have to override the comparative method, and you need to have your logic here. So this is the additional code. It's going to be placed in your bean, and this is restricted. Either you can have a roll number based comparator or name based comparator. you cannot keep it both the things in one place. These problem with the comparable interface. One is you have to keep the additional code in your file, which in your bean file, and it is only one type of comparison will happen. Means one type of sorting will happen. These about comparable interface, and the way to test is you just need to call the sort of list of elements, then it will actually look into the bean comparable interface, it will sort the elements. That's it. The other approach is using comparator. So for the comparator example, we don't need to have additional code in our bean, and we just need to create a new comparator. With then for the employee number, you can have one comparator. For the name, you can have one more comparator. N number of comparators you can have, and you just need to override compare method, and you just need to have your logic here. Then when you're using collection.sort, then you can pick any of the comparator, emp number comparator. If you have created a emp name comparator, then you can use either of one, depends on your requirement. So this is the major difference between comparator and comparable interfaces. So that's about collections. There is one topic we can cover it now, which is the last topic on core Java, I can say, which is about properties. So properties is a class available in Java, which is used for reading or writing the properties. So there are lot of properties will be there. If you want to read it or if you want to set it, you have to use the properties class, which comes under java.util package itself. The way to do this is, suppose if I have properties of system properties, if I want to read, the way to do this is you just need to call system.get properties. That's it. It will actually return all the properties available in your system. So this is a way of getting properties. Suppose if I want to read any particular property, if I know the name, suppose I frequently use the system property, which is java.runtime.name. So if I want to print that value, what is the value for that? The way to do this is ps.get property. Get property, what are the key you can give that name, and it will actually print it. Element java.runtime.name, which just give it, then it will actually look into the system properties, it will actually print that value. Or if you want, you can print the whole PS. If you print it, it will print the whole elements. So these are you can able to read the properties from a system. So these about the core Java tutorial for the whole. So far we covered around 21 videos of tutorial. So make sure guys keep concentrate on important topics like collections and all. Get more hands-on experience in it, then you'll get easily clear your interviews. Thanks guys. Thanks for watching core Java tutorials. Thank you.